Hi, it's Andy C from andyc.photography. Today I want to talk to you about shutter speed and just concentrate on shutter speed only. I'm not going to go into aperture, I'm not going to go into ISO, I'm going to talk to you about those in different videos, but today is just going to be about shutter speed alone. You're probably watching this video because you want to learn about photography, you want to get into photography, but you just want to know a little bit more about how your camera functions, how your camera works, and what it can do. The way I see photography and cameras is that we see a lot of people that we go out and we buy a big camera and it's got every button under the sun, does everything, it does video, it does this, does that. But we find a lot of people are just putting it on full automatic mode, or the green button here, leaving it on auto and letting the camera do its thing, and you're not really getting the most out of your camera. It's really important to take control of your camera rather than the camera taking control for you. So what is shutter speed? Shutter speed is the speed at which the curtain in front of the image sensor opens and closes when you press that button to absorb the amount of light. Okay? Got it? Now I'll break it down into very small chunks. Okay, so shutter speed, in a digital SLR camera, you've got a sensor. So if it's a mirrored camera, so most digital SLR cameras, or DSLR, actually stands for digital single lens reflex cameras. But basically, in the DSLR camera, you'll have a mirror, which is at a 45-degree angle or thereabouts. It's reflecting light into the camera and it's pointing up so you can see it through that viewfinder. So when you look through here, obviously when you look through here, you're not looking out of this part here. You're looking through, it's going down a little bit like a periscope on a submarine, for instance. You're looking down, it's reflecting the light, it's going into the camera, onto a mirror inside the camera, reflecting up and bouncing into your eye here. So behind that mirror that sits at a 45-degree angle is a camera sensor. This is the part of the camera which absorbs all of the data that you're taking a picture of. So everything in front of you, you're taking a picture of, it's absorbing all of the light everywhere about that scene, and it's capturing it and saving it onto this image sensor. That image sensor is connected to the circuitry of the camera, saves it as an image. So in front of the image sensor is a mirror, 45-degree angle. Every time you press that shutter button, that mirror flips up. Okay? The image sensor is behind it, the mirror flips up and allows the light to go through. But in front of that mirror are two curtains. One is going up, one is going down. So when you press that button to take that photo, there's a few things that are going on in a fraction of a second. There's a curtain that goes up, a curtain that goes down. The mirror then flips up so that you don't see anything through the viewfinder. It flips up out of the way for the image to hit that camera sensor. The sensor then stores the information, camera flips down, curtain shuts down and the curtain shuts up. So they do this out of the way. Okay, that's to protect the sensor at all times for any dust. So it's always closed until you press that button. Okay, so shutter speed comes into play when the shutters open and the amount of light is drawn in onto that sensor. The longer the shutter is open, the more amount of light is going to be entered into that camera, through your lens, into the camera, onto the sensor image. Okay, and that's the shutter speed. That's the speed at which that shutter opens and closes. So a shutter speed of, say, 8,000th of a second, it's usually recorded in fractions of a second. The shutter speed of 8,000th of a second means that that shutter is going to open and close 8,000th of a second in speed. Faster than you can probably blink, to be honest, which means the amount of light that enters through that short space of time is going to be very, very small. Now this is absolutely fine if you're outside in broad daylight. You've got the sun gleaming, you've got good amount of light, you're not covered in trees or shadows. This is really good for athletes or something running really quick, something moving very fast. you want to freeze frame that action. This is very good because it takes shutters open, it takes in, lands on the sensor, shutters close in 8,000th of a second. So the 8,000th of a second is very fast indeed. There's not going to be a lot of light that's going to be coming in and entering that camera. So if you wanted more light to enter your camera and hit your sensor, you would decrease the shutter speed, or you would slow the shutter speed down. So by default, you'll find that most cameras, I'm just going to show you here, let's just see, okay, so I'm going to go on the highest value here. I'm going to show you, so it's currently on 1,000th of a second, you see at the top here. Now if I use the wheel at the very top, this one here, I can change that value up or down. So 8,000th of a second on this camera is the fastest it will absorb, it would open the shutter. So if I change that, it's now 6,400, 5,000, 4,000, 3,200 and so on. The more I scroll that wheel, the slower the shutter speed is going to get. Down to say 160, 200, you're starting to get to the realms of possible camera blur. A camera blur means if the shutter speed is too slow, so 1/25th of a second for instance, or even 80 or 100th of a second, if it's too slow, shutter speed is too slow and your hand holding a camera, when you press that button, okay, when you press that button, it's going to open. It's obviously not going to close as fast as an 8,000. It's going to open and shut. But while that's open, that camera's got to be dead still. It's got to be totally still and steady. If you move your camera in any way, shape or form, even if you breathe, your heart pounding, anything, if you just move that while that shutter is open, you're going to get blurred pictures. So this is really, really apparent in the evenings or at nighttime photography. If you're out and you want to take some pictures of friends, or you want to get a picture of a cityscape at night, and you're hand holding that camera, chances are it's going to blur, which is why you need things like a tripod to help steady things. And that's why you'll see photographers with tripods, possibly in the middle of the day. And we can get onto that to talk about something called ND filters and blur in motion. We'll talk about that in a totally separate video, but this is why you'll see photographers with tripods in the middle of the day. You think, well, why do they need a tripod? You know, it's probably because they're doing a very slow shutter speed to absorb more light. And by doing that, you're blurring any motion out of the way. But to do that during the day, you're going to need a filter. I hope this has been informational, this video to you. It's actually my very first video that I've done. I've had some friends and some colleagues kind of egg me into doing this. I hold some photography classes at work, just outside of work basically. I had real passion for photography and they said, hey look, you know, you should do a YouTube channel, or you should do some YouTube videos, you know, because then they can learn in their own spare time as well. And I hope that you guys have a better understanding as to how this particular video has helped you, shutter speed for instance. If there's any comments or if there's anything specific that you'd like me to make a video about, please enter in the comments below. Please like the video. So at the moment I've got very, very little subscribers, probably none at all, because I only started this channel about 3 days ago. If this has helped you, then great. If not, no problem at all, I'll try harder. But thanks for watching, I appreciate it. Bye bye.